Welcome to another video. We're going to be ranking the secret characters in Dishonored across the series, from worst to best. Number 20, Jerome, the Dead Eels, the Brigmore Witches. You can meet him in Draper's Ward, on the other side of an empty riverbed, in an apartment. When you meet him, he recognizes you are Dowd and offers to trade with you.
Recognized your face from the posters. Not that I'd ever say anything to anyone, believe me. I'd be happy to have you for a customer.
Number 19, Hamilton, the Good Doctor, Dishonored 2. You can find him inside Adamite Institute, on the second floor. He is mentally shaken and an emotional wreck. He talks about the hatred he saw in the Crown Killer and how that affected him. Then he goes back to being inconsolable. Number 18, Lord Shaw, Lady Ball's Last Party, Dishonored 1. You can meet him in the Estate District, at the Wall Estate, on Grizzly Boulevard. Morgan Pendleton prepares a letter for you to give to him. So when you finally meet him, he calls Pendleton a gutless lying sack of shit. You both then go on to have a pistol duel. It seems Shaw and Pendleton aren't on good terms, but Pendleton uses this as a chance to take out Shaw by sending Corvo in his place. Had Pendleton been dueling Shaw himself, he probably would have lost. Number 17, the Dunwall Courier, A Long Day in Dunwall, Dishonored 2. You can find him in the Dunwall Courier building, located near the Dunwall Tower. You find him upstairs, being threatened by a guard. Probably a guard working under Mortimer Ramsey. You can take him out and talk with the courier. You find out that he was being forced to write stories that made the Crown look bad. But with your encouragement, he decides not to do that anymore and tell the truth.
I allowed myself to be coerced. Forgive me.
You're forgiven. I'm not sure what happens next, but protect yourself. And when the time is right, tell people the truth.
Number 16, the Red Witch, Delilah's masterwork, the Brigmore Witches. You can find her in the Brigmore Manor, behind the Brigmore Mansion. She is wearing a red coat, and you can buy a favor to get information from her. The reason you can do this is because she is not at all loyal to Delilah, and she couldn't care less what happens to her. But touch one of her sisters, and you'll get smoked. She says you two aren't friends, but she tells you of a secret way to get into the mansion.
Use the crypt. There's a lever that opens one of the tombs. The lever is kept in the shed. That's all I can tell you.
Number 15, Mr. Brisby, Lady Ball's Last Party, Dishonored 1. You can find him in the Boyle Estate, which is located in the Estate District, on Grizzly Boulevard. He is wearing a cat mask, and surprisingly, he is expecting you in one of the corner rooms. Somehow, he knows you have come to assassinate Lady Boyle, which he is madly in love with. There are 3 Boyle sisters, all wearing masks, so it's more than likely, at this point, you have no idea which Boyle sister is the one that needs to be taken out. Ironically, he tells you exactly which Boyle sister you need to take out, although I'm not quite sure how he knows this. He makes a deal with you, where he keeps her, but it's your decision to make.
I'll wait for you there. I'm not proud of this, but surely it's better than seeing her killed.
Number 14. Miss White. Lady Ball's Last Party. Dishonored 1. You can find her in the Estate District, in the Ball Estate, on Grizzly Boulevard. When you go to talk to her, she is already in conversation with someone. They seem to be talking about going to Circanos. When you finally talk to Miss White, she makes a comment about your mask, and then she asks you to get her a drink. If you do this, she will give you a clue about one of the Ball sisters.
Thank you. Are you playing Lady Boyle's guessing game? Well, I know for a fact that Waverly's in black tonight. In mourning for her reputation, I expect.
Number 13. Propaganda Officer. Return to the Tower. Dishonored 1. You can meet him in Dunwall Tower, in the broadcast station, upstairs, past the Lord Regent's chambers. When you talk to him, he tells you exactly how to expose the Lord Regent. He explains that there is a tape recording that he keeps in a safe that would destroy him. He also tells you how to use the recording station.
In a safe in the Lord Regent's room, but I was able to see the combination over his shoulder. 935. Trust me, what's recorded on that card will do the trick.
Number 12. Griff, the High Overseer. Dishonored 1. You can meet him in the Distillery District, on Blowdock's Way. Before you meet him, he's being held prisoner by the Bottle Street Gang. When you finally talk to him, he thanks you for freeing him and says he won't ask about the mask. He says you can buy items from him afterwards.
It was, at one time, but now I'm reduced to scavenging things from here and there as the city dies. If you need anything, I wouldn't mind trading for a little money.
Number 11. Blake, the Flooded District. Dishonored 1. You can find him in the Flooded District, past the Whaler hideout, in an old building. There are several people hiding in this building, from an arc pylon, tall boys, and the City Watch. When you finally talk to Blake, he says he plans to escape from the hideout and the area, but the only thing stopping him and the people inside is an arc pylon. If you disable the arc pylon, a group of people emerge from the building, and there is a meeting afterwards. I think Blake's plan is to try and get his people on a boat and head to Circanos, but that is a dangerous mission because you still have more arc pylons, tall boys, walls of light, the City Watch, and even the Plague to deal with.
Give you a good vantage point. Pull the oil tank out and the pylon powers down.
Number 10. Paolo, the Clockwork Mansion. Dishonored 2. You can find him and two of his followers in the Lower Aventa District, outside the Black Market, past the carriage station. He introduces himself and mentions how he's the big guy in town. He then proceeds to threaten you because he doesn't like your tone. You can leave the situation or take him and his followers out.
Remember all that etiquette they learned. Maybe you need another lesson. Is that what you came down here for?
Number 9. Mindy Blanchard, Edge of the World. Dishonored 2. You can find her behind the Black Market, past the Kanaka docks. She calls you over to talk to her. She asks you to bring a body to her, which is located in an overseer outpost. And in return, she will shut off power to the cargo rails for easier passage to Carriage Station. She doesn't tell you what she plans to do with the body, but it's your choice what you do. Also, you have to question how she was planning to get this body before you showed up.
The overseers are holding him at their outpost. They think he was a kind of a witch. I want the body for reasons of my own.
Number 8. Mr. Roland. Eminent Domain. The Knife of Dunwall. You can meet him in the Legal District, past the Legal District waterfront, in a rundown building located on Pudding Street. When you go to meet him, he recognizes you are Dowd and realizes you are after Arnold Timsh. He says that he's after revenge on Arnold Timsh because he wrongly evicted him and seized his assets. He says there is a building where he has a forged letter addressed to the Lord Regent that would destroy Timsh. He also includes a reward since he was a businessman. All you have to do is make sure this letter gets into the hands of the right people.
I don't expect you to do this for free. If you do go to my apartment, you'll find something stashed there. Consider it your payment in advance.
Number 7. The Duke's Body Double. The Grand Palace. Dishonored 2. You can find him in the Grand Palace, which is located in the Palace District. You need to go past Ravenna Boulevard and take a rail carriage. When you finally talk to him, you find out that he is an actor. For years, he has been perfecting the art of acting like the Duke. It makes sense that the Duke hired a body double. He is such a despised figure that he has plenty of targets on his head. You also find out that the real Duke always carries around a gold pendant so that people can always tell he is indeed the real Duke. The body double looks so alike the Duke that you make a deal with him. He gets the gold pendant and becomes the new Duke, but he has to follow some orders from the capital.
I've spent years perfecting my performance, but there's a catch. He's got a medallion that I need. Even if I sound convincing, which should be the easy part.
Number 6. Teresia Cienfueges. The Bank Job. Death of the Outsider. You can meet her in the Upper Syria District, in an apartment building. You can sign her petition. When you meet her, she's in mourning. Her father recently passed away. She says her father was murdered, but she has no idea why anyone would want to hurt him. The eyeless cult must have done it, because Teresia says her father's body was found completely drained of blood. She's looking for justice, but the authorities don't really seem to care. She also says the bank took all her father's possessions and plans to sell it all in an auction. There are so many things to talk about, but this has to be the most corrupt area in the series.
Murdered. Do you know anything?
His body was completely drained of blood when the Grand Guard found him. I've no idea why anyone would want to hurt Father.
Number 5. Lucia Pastor. A Crack in the Slab. Dishonored 2. You can find her in the Dust District, in a building opposite Aramis Stilton's mansion. The only way you can talk to her is if you knock out Aramis Hilton in the past during a crack in the slab mission so that he never goes insane. And after you talk to the outsider, you can meet her. When you meet her, she knows exactly who you are. She mentions how she doesn't know whether to be honored you know her or pissed off for letting the Duke shit all over Serkanos. Lucia is part of the miners' committee, pretty much a union worker for miners, and she wants better working conditions. She tells you that not everyone at the Grand Palace is your enemy.
You have a plan?
No, nothing that solid. Not yet.
But I believe the Duke will fall, eventually.
Number 4. The Art Dealer. House of Pleasure. Dishonored 1. You can meet him in the Distillery District, at the Golden Cat, past Clavering Boulevard, in the Silver Room. When you get to him, he is strapped to an electroshock chair, awaiting punishment. This is ironic because you actually need information from him, so this situation is perfect. He ends up telling you that he cheated the Pendletons out of thousands. For most of the time, he thinks you're a girl that works at the pleasure house. If you shock him enough times, he'll tell you the code to his safe.
Tell you why? The Pendletons are here, right? I'll start with them. I've cheated them, robbed them of thousands.
Number 3. Slackjaw. House of Pleasure. Dishonored 1. You can find him in the Distillery District, in the old Dunwall Distillery, past Endoria Street. Before you even talk to Slackjaw, his men are expecting you. And they even say, Slackjaw wants to talk to you. When you talk to him, he knows that you're after the Pendleton twins, Lee and Curtis. So, he offers you a deal. Get him the code to the art dealer's safe, and he'll take care of the Pendletons for you. I'm not sure how he plans to do this because the twins are heavily guarded, but being a gang leader, he probably has ways to do this. He says he plans to cut off their tongues and send them to work in their own mines, which is surprising that he has the power to do this.
I know who is killing my men, taking my territory, stealing my goods. Might be a fellow name of Galvani.
Number 2. The Dressmaker. The Dead Eels. The Brigmore Witches. You can meet him in Draper's Ward, across the riverbed, in an apartment. When you talk to him, he says that he used to be close to the Coldwins, and that he was a favorite of the court. He literally used to make clothes for the Coldwins, and he says he was particularly close to Emily. He was even sent a lock of Emily's hair to remind him of her. He goes on to say that one day he met Delilah, and that was when his lock of hair was stolen. She performed some sort of ritual on him, and he was paralyzed for 3 days. He says he can still feel the cold on his neck from that day, and the markings from the ritual are still on the wall.
And Delilah? She visited me here. Such a surprise to see her, all grown up. So serious.
Number 1. Granny Rags. The High Overseer. Dishonored 1. You can find her in the Distillery District, in an old building at the end of Endoria Street. When you meet her, she seems creepy and a little insane, but nonetheless, she asks you to take care of Slackjaw's men, who start banging on her door. I'm not exactly sure why Slackjaw sends his men over to Granny Rags. I guess he just wants any valuables that she has. Also, I'm not sure why Granny Rags asks you to take care of these men, because she's more than capable of doing it herself. If you do so though, she rewards you with a rune, and then she offers you another rune if you contaminate Slackjaw's elixir in the old Dunwall distillery. I don't think Granny Rags has anything against Slackjaw, but it seems he bothered her so much that he becomes an enemy.
Ah, well, they'll go away again if they know what's good for them. But what a bother. Use the key to the front door, love. You'll see to those ruffians, won't you?